All right, guys, welcome back. If you guys watched yesterday's video, you know that I top 8'd a 64, and today it's time to play out the top 8. So yeah, if you guys don't know the tournament structure, we just played 8 different pods, and every 3L player will now draft on the final table for the marbles. So super excited about that one. We have some good opponents here between Dimax, the Inglis, Larua, and Wooburgers. So yeah, definitely no easy task. I was able to get there without opening any power, so maybe it's my turn now. That would be cool. But with that being said, I had a sweet deck. Even though I started off with, I believe, first pick Hex Drinker, second pick the Druid, like 2-drop, like Poor Man's Birds of Paradise. Not really ideal start, but I ended up finding my lane in a very, very sweet Simic deck with both good acceleration, good 3s and 4s, and then the Crater Hoof as top end, and that was enough to get there this time around. So the timer going down to 0, and then we will have a fresh pack of Magic cards to draft from. So yeah, Vintage Cube, one of my favorite ways to play Magic. Can't really stress that enough, and hope you guys like it as well. Let's see. I'm getting passed to by D-Max, and I'm playing Gutek round 1. Not that that's incredibly relevant. So we have some cool vintage restricted cards here between Tinker, Balance, and Lurrus. I guess it's not, Lurrus is not restricted, but you know what I mean. Tinker, pretty strong. Pretty good card to start with, but so is Balance. They kind of go in the same deck, which is a bit annoying. Balance is kind of a build around that will not be for everyone, so I think I'm starting on Tinker here. Don't fault anyone for, having a great idea about, how the cube is constructed and whether Balance is especially great or not so great in this cube. I do believe I've seen both Portal, Citadel, Blightsteel, Mere Battlesphere. I've kind of seen the usual suspects for Tinker, so I think that's a reasonable way to start the draft, as I said. Okay, next pack. I think I'm going to follow it up with Imperial Seal here. So the top deck tutors are not, insane or anything, but it's pretty good consistency. If I'm lucky, I can wield the Basalt Monolith. If I wasn't going for the Seal, I would probably try and take the Basalt, but that just seems like way too early. Basalt is great if you have like a ton of artifacts, maybe a little bit of combo going on. Seal, you can even have like a small package of, let's say I have like 3 cheap artifacts, 1 big artifact, and then you will still play, Seal Tinker. Having Tinker, you want to focus on getting, stuff like Signets become a little better. I'm not incredibly excited about those normally. So we need a big target and we need some small stuff. Usually my favorite ratio, like minimum ratio, is like 4 cheap ones, 1 big one, maybe 1, kind of in the middle, or 2 big ones, but who knows. Spell Pierce looks like a solid card here. It's basically Spell Pierce versus Triome. If this Triome was blue-black X, I would take it, but I'm taking Spell Pierce here. Spell Pierce is going to be good against other people trying to do broken stuff or having, interaction. Subtlety, also a great card, but in a perfect world, I get a bunch of artifacts, so I'm not too sure about my blue count. This is a good pick, and I think I'm going to go for Preordain. Counterspell is awesome. Emery is awesome once I'm already, settled in the deck, but Preordain, the smaller your deck is, the better Preordain is, right? It looks at more cards, bigger percentage, I should say. The smaller your deck is. Golas and Emery, those are kind of role players for my deck. Wouldn't mind wheeling any one of those. So theoretically, I could get backdrafted by somebody who opened, Academy, Ursa Saga, took a workshop out of a weak pack, maybe. I don't know. Actually, I don't even know if Ursa Saga is in the cube. I would just guess it is, right? So this start is pretty awesome. But the problem is that right now the Seal and the Tinker is kind of a package. But I guess maybe that's not a problem. So I love Force Spike. Spellseeker is good with, Ancestral Time Walk. Demonic Tutor, Mind Twist, Brain Freeze, stuff like that. So that card definitely has a lot of upside, but Force Spike, that card is so good. People will play the best card they can whenever they can do it, and it's going to get my opponent. So I'm going to take Force Spike here. Spell Seeker, I don't mind if anybody's taking that card. Okay, so here's Mirror Battlesphere. That's like a totally reasonable card to have as your Tinker target in my, let's say, Demure control deck. So let's take that over a whole bunch of nothing. Sure, I could speculate on the Steam Vents. So now I have, you know, the payoff figured out. And now I need, you know, a couple of Signets, maybe open a Mox, stuff like that to, you know, to get there. So with that being said, Mirror Battlesphere is also hard castable, and if I get something like a Portal to Phyrexia, I wouldn't mind playing both of those big cards. So I love the start. Now I feel like it's time to see if there's any small artifacts wheeling. And if that's the case, I really, really like my spot. Can't remember, yeah, the balance. I mean, there is a chance the balance will wheel as well, but let's not get to any hasty conclusions here. So the thing about Lightning Greaves is it's pretty good with Tinker, and you can tinker it away. I'm not very big on 5-mana Time Walks. Celestial Colonnade versus Lightning Greaves for me here. Maybe I can take Lightning Greaves. There's some cute stuff to do with, you know, Blightsteel and stuff like that as well. So now it's between Portal and Spellbomb. I feel like I should take Spellbomb. Spellbomb being a cheap artifact is pretty good. You could curve, you know, into Tinker rather than, you know, sure, the Portal is also an artifact, but this is just a bit cleaner. So now it's time to see what wheels. And I remember there was Simic Signet. Speaking of that, there's Simic Signet that I'm taking over Candelabra. It's a pretty good choice to have, but I'm taking the Simic Signet. Poor man's Mox Sapphire. Great with Tinker. Great with, you know, various 4s and 5s that I might want to get. Here I can take Curse Scroll or Dig Through Time. I actually feel between, you know, cheap counters and cantrips, I should take Dig Through Time here. It's kind of good in a combo deck as well. Taking Dig Through Time over Curse Scroll. Pretty good. And here I can free roll the Triome, so I feel like I'm in a great position here. Right now, worth noting is I cannot cast this Imperial Seal, and I will need, you know, a little bit of help. And now I have 2 green sources. So let's say I open something like Oko, Pest Infestation, even Tireless Tracker is good in your artifact deck, right? So yeah, awesome pack 1. Not going to complain about this at all. Looks like I'm not your, you know, the most conventional control deck, but more of a, you know, presents some threat type of deck with some decent answers up the curve between Spike and Pierce. Those are just very punishing cards, not very, you know, high quality, draw off the top of the deck, turn 8 type cards. Oh, Emery. Maybe this is Emery. Yeah, I should just take Emery, even though the headquarters also looks kind of cool. Let's take Emery. So now I really want like a critical mass of artifacts, because now I both care about it when it comes to Tinker, and I care about it when it comes to Emery. We can take a Moat here. Don't expect to be able to cast it. Okay, nice pack 1. Let's see what pack 2 has in store for us. Fable of the Mirror Breaker being the best card. Ponder and Mana Leak being pretty close. Fable makes artifacts. I have 1 red source, so, you know, Fable is better. But it is harder to cast, so unclear what to do. There's Mindslaver that I'm trying to wheel. Try and go, I guess, infinite with Emery. Fable with 1 red already. The question is, am I going to have my hands full, you know, drafting cheap artifacts and not worrying about red fixing? That could be the case. I'm actually going to go for Ponder here. Ugh, yeah, I'm not sure about that. Also, if I take the Fable, I then have to work on the red fixing, I still have to work on the black fixing because of Seal. So with those combined, I mean, you can argue that if I can cast the Fable, then the Goblin can make black for Seal, but I don't think that's, you know, that's not reliable as a mana source. It's like, I don't know, a third of a mana source or a quarter of a mana source, something along those lines. Oh, so what do we have here? We have Bribery, good card. Pestermite, Brain Freeze. Am I freezing anybody here? No black fixing for the Seal. Could speculate on Pestermite. Do have a red here. I would need Splinter Twin for that to make sense. Maybe that's a decent spec. What's the other alternative? That's the Bribery, I guess. What kind of green cards are we setting up? The ones I just talked about. Tracker, Pest Infestation, that kind of stuff. Oko. Bribery. Yeah, 5 mana card. It's not really my favorite. Can Enlightened Tutor do anything? I don't think so. This is going to be a speculation no matter what. I'm going to go Pestermite, and I have no idea if that's good or not. Here's Flash. Pretty amazing card, but there's also Force of Will. The thing about Flash is there's maybe like 3 or 4 cards that are good with Flash, and I already have an Imperial Seal with no black fixing. Force of Will is going to be good no matter what. So my logic is take the Force of Will, try and wield the Opal. But that's a tough one to make. Very tough call. Cheap artifacts are apparently hard to come by. Wooded Foothills makes Ketria Triumph better. Maybe this is a point where I'm supposed to up my mana, even though I don't have, you know, a reason to play red right now because I haven't seen the twin. I'm trying to click here, unclear what's going on. All right, we seem to be back here. I took Wooded Foothills after a little bit of malfunction. What do we have here? Sure, Mud is a cheap artifact, but it's quite bad. I guess we just take Snapcaster here. Snapcaster right now can flash back some counters, some cantrips. That should be good enough. Also worth noting is that I already have, you know, the famous 3 cheap artifacts. So, I mean, we have a deck no matter how this ends up. Here's Verdant and Hangerback, I guess. But let's take Verdant trying to set up the Seal. Rakdos Signet. Not bad, actually. Because it's black mana, it's red mana for the potential twin, and it's, you know, an artifact for Tinker and friends. So let's take that card over, yes, over Rafine's Tower. What about this? Little bit of... Yeah, I guess these don't help a whole lot. Guess I take Otawara here. Otherwise, I should take High Tide and speculate on, I guess, Spiral or the Freeze coming back around. I mean, I'm down to speculate. Otawara, probably not the most clutch card, but, you know, could come in handy. But funnily enough, here's Mindslaver, a card that I need 10 mana and an Emery. That's a lot. It's probably better to just take black mana and try and cement the Imperial Seal. So right now I have High Tide and Pestermite as incompleted combos. These cards, so the Flash is gone. Should I just remove the Hulk from the draft? I'm trying to think about the Mastery here. That's good with Ultimatum. I don't have many good ways to put Ultimatum into the graveyard, so that doesn't have a whole lot of utility. So let's put that into the sideboard. Wow, I'm getting very late days here. There's also Bolas's Citadel, but I actually don't think this is the best Bolas's Citadel deck. I just think it's an amazing days deck, on the other hand. But maybe that's not true because I have so much cheap stuff. Yeah, Daze is just too strong. I love that card. Pyrokinesis for the sideboard. I'm trying to connect on Splinter Twin. I'm trying to connect on Spiral. But I feel like I need some, let's call it normal ways to win a game of Magic. Is Kinnan ever going to make my deck? I don't think so. So let's try and make other people's mana worse. Here's Jar. Theoretically, that's a card I can play. Right now, my deck is kind of lacking a little bit of identity. It also turns out that whoever took the Basalt Monolith is making sure I can't go full artifact. Wow, yeah, Mox Emerald is awesome, obviously. Let's take that card. I mean, Time Twister would probably be fine, but nothing to write home about, so stoked about the Emerald. I'm trying to find, solid ways that I can win the game. Because right now I have all of these, I'm kind of spinning my wheels here between countering stuff and cantripping. What am I trying to accomplish? Tinker Battlesphere is a plan, no doubt. But let's just say I could draft a Splinter Twin and have that as a plan, glue it together with Dig Through Time and Seal. Then I would kind of have more direction, I will say. Because right now, these cards might not even make the deck. Okay, there's Splinter Twin. I think I have to take it, even though I love the other cards in this pack. Confluence, Negation, DAC. But I actually think I have to take this one. And I'm actually going to be pretty excited about it. Okay, what's up next? So this is another copy of Tinker. I'll probably take that over Probe. Skull Clamp is going to be awesome for somebody. Yeah, let's take Mystical Tutor. Pretty nice that I now have 3 copies of Tinker. I have now, 2 copies of Pestermite, 2 twins. So the seal is really doing work here. Let's add Mystical Tutor to that pile. So now, yeah, I guess I'm a combo deck, and I have Force of Will, Daze, Pierce, Spike. So I'm also interacting. I'm not just, hoping my opponent has nothing. With that being said, I don't want to play against Control, but I actually do have counterplay. Right now, I'm also looking for something to tie together my mana base a little bit. Could be something like a black dual, like Sea Watergrave type card. Could be some kind of Triome with at least 2 of my colors in it. Yeah, this deck's game plan is going to be very focused on either tinkering out a Battlesphere or trying to twin combo my opponent. Still have these. What do we have here? We have Jace the Mind Sculptor. Do I need more card advantage? I already have Dig Through Time, and that's about it. Probably not playing those. Signet is good with Tinker and Twin, I guess. Maybe it's easier to get a few more mid-range type cards. Jace the Mind Sculptor. Yeah, maybe this is not the best Jace deck. Who knows? Here's a Proving Ground, which is red and black, and can get fetched by both lands. Maybe that's actually what the doctor ordered. Okay, let's take Proving Grounds here. That actually improves my mana quite a bit. Here's Mystic Forge. Doesn't do anything. Upheaval. I don't think this is an Upheaval deck. Recruiter, Tutors, Pestermite. Recruiter, Tutors, I guess Snapcaster in a pinch. Magma Opus is good with the Dream Halls and the Mystics card that I passed. Okay, let's take Recruiter. I guess I'd take a land here. I could also take a Hostage Taker. How much black am I running? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess I have enough black mana. Hostage Taker. That card is not terrible. Not insanely powerful either. Wow, very late Urza. I'll take that any day of the week. Snuff Out also very late. I would be happy with that. Rolling Earthquake I could even see playing. Okay. Very excited with that Urza. So I guess I'll take Pirate Spellbomb now. Good with a lot of the stuff. Is that true? What is it good with? It's good with Urza. It's good with, you know, for tinkering it away. But maybe that's not really... I guess it's good with Emery to have both spell bombs. That should be better than Chart, of course, because I'm not typically attacking early. Wow. What? Negation and top? My deck is so polarized against beating other unfair. Top is going to be redundancy, like, you know, digging power. I could take top here. Maybe I'm doing fine against spells. Winter Orb plus Urza is a good combo, and I have a ton of signets, so maybe that's going to be good out of the sideboard against some deck. Yeah, let's draft Winter Orb. Maybe hate draft Vigor. So right now, if I just added 9 lands to the deck, I would be at 14 lands in a mox, so probably have to cut a card. No spec cards out here. So funnily enough, Recruiter can also tutor Ursa, which is not bad. It can also tutor Hostage Taker. So I guess I take the Trop. Is Trop any good? I guess it makes Wooded Foothills and Verdant into untapped blue. Okay, that's actually not bad. That's very, very important. That could be crucial. But with that said, I have to cut a card from this deck. Snap, I just feel like is a bad card. Upheaval is potentially a card I can lose to, but I also imagine it would have gotten taken if anybody valued it. Okay, let's have a look at this build. Maybe it's just Hostage Taker, because then I have, you know, Imperial Seal as my only black card, and that's, you know, good in general. Let's see, we have some... The Lightning Greaves is actually... That's quite sketchy. I probably don't play that card. Do I play Winter Orb? I feel like Winter Orb is very polarized as well. Unfortunately, I don't have enough red to support Pyrokinesis. I guess that leaves me back with good old Hostage Taker. Or I guess lands. So let's see. What if I go to 16 lands, a mox, 17 lands? No, I have enough cantrips to play a spell here. So let's see. I guess we should start counting incidental red sources. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a decent start. I think I want to get up to 8 here. Then let's see how I'm doing on black. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So I have 5 black for the seal and the Hostage Taker. In theory, it's enough. Let's see about the islands, or the blue mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can add 6 of those and a swamp. And then I have enough of all colors here. Couple of spell bombs. So why am I running Emery? I'm running Emery because I have 2 spell bombs, and there's some kind of grindy scenario where I can replay Battlesphere from the yard. I can twin combo. I can counter stuff. I'm very bad against creatures putting on pressure. I have a couple of tutors for my Tinker. One of the tutors even complete Splinter Twin. A little bit of Recruiter action. This should be cool. And dig through time as well. Okay, I mean, I don't think I have the best deck at the table, but I'm ready to fight. So I hope you guys are as well. I'll be right back. Quick moment here to shout out all the awesome Barons over at my Patreon. I'm slowly but surely building a nice community over there, and I wouldn't be without it, and I wouldn't be anywhere without you guys' support. So each and every one of you, thank you so much. And now, let's get back to the games. All right, guys. It's top 8 time. It's where I love to be. On the draw here with my weird artifact deck. Looks like I have turn 3 Tinker set up. Could also go for turn 3 Urza and slow things down a little bit. My opponent on a single mulligan. Could mean whatever. There's the Otawara I passed. Unfortunately, I think this is a good... Oh, I was about to say, I have Preordain and Ponder in my deck, so this should be Ancestor Recall, but thankfully, I was wrong. I can go turn 1 Ponder to kind of smooth out my draws. With that being said, I know what to do, like, for the next couple of turns. Emry might be a cool one. Let's see about that. Daze Signet. That's actually some pretty solid cards. Let me do a little bit of math here. The next turn, if I develop a Signet and I have to Daze... Okay, then I can't Mystical for Tinker on that turn, but it's still pretty sweet. So I guess in case of emergency, draw the Daze now. I really don't hope I have to fire it off. Then the question is, do I want to draw... Yeah, I want to develop a Signet, so I'm not going to upkeep Mystical. That would just be bad. Bad mana usage, so... I guess I play out that Signet because it's the best one. It's both of my splash colors, so I want that in play. The other one, I'm not sure if I'm going to have the time. Ooh, this is not good for my opponent. So now I think I'm going to cast the Tinker. And hopefully beat my opponent's 2-mana counter with Daze. That's kind of the theory. Let's see if that happens. So now I'm tinkering away my best Signet, which is maybe something I should have seen coming. That resolves. So I get Mirror Battlesphere in play, and I have a Daze. My opponent missed a land drop. Obviously, I'm pretty excited about that. Here's my opponent's 3rd land, so I guess they have some kind of play here? Yeah, this is brutal. This is brutal. Simply brutal. I get to Daze the deck here. I have the Force of Will, so not much to do there from my opponent. Yeah, that was brutal. My opponent mulliganed into some slim hand, kind of brainstorm locked themselves, and that's all she wrote. I just noticed that High Tide and Upheaval is kind of a package, but I don't really believe that. So the question is, Winter Orb is probably going to be quite good against my opponent. I'm going to try that. How many rocks do I have? I have 4 mana rocks. And it's good with Urza, so it's like good with 5 cards? No, maybe it's not good enough. And all of these other cards are, you know, serviceable. This can also steal artifacts, if I remember correctly. So it's like decent to just, you know, steal a Mox or whatever. Yeah, I guess let's just submit and try and do it all over. Okay, so Mirror Battlesphere in the opener. Snapcaster doesn't do anything. Recruiter for Urza is going to be solid, probably. Yeah, this hand is not anything to write home about, but I think it's good enough. I can get a Triumph out of the deck, place Signet. I don't believe I have any blue lands. Let's see. Oh, I do. I have Ketria Triumph. Okay, that's pretty nice. So Ketria Triumph makes it so that I don't have black mana in play, though. But it looks like double blue is going to be more important if my plan is Urza. My opponent's trying to sculpt the plan here after seeing my hand with Probe, which is very, very possible. That's part of why that card is insane. Especially in this singleton format where Like, this is not constructed. My opponent does not know what I have on average. Draw the mountain, which is quite a bad draw because it doesn't even let me, you know, fetch better, if that makes sense. I could have postponed the fetch. I think I need to go for this one and then say I have a couple of uncastable black cards in my deck for the time being. Preordain is solid. Play Signet. I can get Dacked here. Dack is amazing against my deck. That is exactly what happens. Yeah, that's annoying. So this is like a Stone Rain and a ramp spell, right? Pretty strong. So now in order to put pressure on my opponent, I can go... Oh. Pester might untap my land. Cast Preordain. But the Pierce kind of... Pierce is kind of inviting me to do something else, but I think it's the right call because I don't have my next land drop. So let's go Pester might untap, cast Preordain to look for more lands, which I get. That's kind of cool. Do I want both lands? The next turn I go Snapcaster Preordain. Maybe it's fine to only get one of them. There's also a world where my opponent has to respect the threat of Splinter Twin. With that being said, I'm in a bad spot this game. My opponent got to, you know, get some nice card advantage out of deck. And ramping a little bit, disrupting me a little bit. My hope is my opponent doesn't have a removal spell, so I can just attack it dead with Pestermite, but that's hoping for too much. Oh, maybe I'm playing against the player who took the Brain Freeze. Here's Expressive Iteration. That card is sometimes a bit awkward. I just hope my opponent doesn't hit, you know, like a Bolt or Flame Slash or whatever. And that's the dream, that I get to kill the deck and kind of move on here. My opponent also doesn't know about the Spell Pierce. That could come in handy. Something like, I Snapcaster Preordain, Sculpt my hand, kill the Walker. Opponent flashbacks Echo of Eons, I Pierce it. Great tempo play. So my opponent found my opponent has, you know, 3 mana, but only red. Don't bolt me, bro. Don't bolt me, bro. Really want to get that deck out of here. Black Lotus. Whew. Okay, Black Lotus pass. We take those. I guess play land and try and attack deck. I don't have much counterplay against like some random flashy creatures. Okay, nice. So now I'll keep my plan of Snapcastering Preordain. Dig Through Time and a land. I feel like that Dig Through Time is just a no-go. So now my opponent is most likely trying to combo me out. I'll try and steal a couple of mana with the Pierce. And then hopefully draw into something like, I don't know, Force of Will or whatever. Could have had Force... Did I end up taking Force of Negation? I actually can't remember. Do I have Force of Negation? No, I took something else. Actually, I like that. My opponent with no play, and I draw Tinker, which is currently checking notes, a brick. Okay, so... Yes, we just try and attack here. So, is my opponent some kind of Storm deck? That's kind of my question. Let's just play Recruiter, I guess. Puts a little bit of pressure on the opponent. Urza? I guess Hostage Taker, even though I don't have black mana, that's a problem. If I take Hostage Taker, I feel like my opponent is incentivized to go for it, which should be good for me. So now I develop the Spell Bomb, hold up Pierce. And now I'm kind of threatening a little bit, right? Let's see what this is. Hopefully it's something I can pierce. Doesn't look like it. When I'm saying something I can pierce is something that would cost my opponent a Lotus. But it looks like this is Gifts Ungiven, and yeah, that card is probably not beatable. Am I supposed to cycle Spell Bomb to spike exactly Force of Will? Or do I believe this Spell Pierce can actually do something? I actually feel like I have to go for the desperate move here. Almost. I don't even know if that's a word I can use here. So I would happily, if I had, you know, those tools available, first pierced and then dazed in order to get rid of a Lotus, but now I just feel like I'm losing. That's actually quite funny that the negation that I arrogantly passed would have been insane against my opponent's deck. Let's see, Gifts Ungiven. It's been a while since anybody resolved that card in a game that I was involved in. Okay. It looks like my opponent is solely interested in, you know, storming a little bit off. So I choose the 2 cards to go to the graveyard. Put the chosen cards into your graveyard. So, nope. Nope. My opponent has some rituals. That's super scary. That deck looks really awesome. Black Lotus and just quality and all the, you know, the cogs you can dream about. So let's see. This is probably going to be an Echo of Eons after the opponent fires off the rituals. I don't think it makes any sense to daze here. I think my hope is that I find, you know, Force of Will. I somehow stop my opponent post draw 7, and I also found a Splinter Twin and I can win the game. This is also valuable info because it now shows that my opponent probably doesn't have much in the way of interaction. So I can kind of play more, you know, assertive. I don't have to respect a ton of cards because my opponent is most likely mainly a combo deck. Does that make Winter Orb good? Unclear. Unclear. My deck actually has a terrible Storm matchup. And now I would have given my Kingdom for either drafting the Negation or the Brain Freeze, but that's how it goes sometimes. So, opponent resolved the Brainstorm, now floating some mana with Lotus, I imagine, because they wouldn't mind drawing Lotus off the draw 7 again. I assume this is the Echo. My opponent has a ton of mana here. I can't win if they... Oh, Past in Flames. All of those... I mean, I guess we just let our opponent go for it here. I didn't know Past in Flames was in the queue, but it makes a lot of sense. Blue-Red Storm. So my opponent plays all those rituals, and then what? Storm count is certainly not a problem. Gifts Ungiven is a problem, though. So if my opponent... Yeah, I just need to see my opponent's win condition, I guess. This Gifts Ungiven is gonna do it here. If there's a Brain Freeze in the mix. Then even if I put Brain Freeze in the yard, my opponent can flashback. Okay, well. targeting me, I guess. And I don't have an Eldrazi, so we concede here. Okay. Brutality. Have a lot of slow cards, but it's unclear if I can do anything about that. Yeah, I feel like I just submit the same and hope for the best. That does look like a consistent Storm deck, unfortunately. Very cool. Pierce, Spike, Daze, Force. I mean, it is still only 4 counters. It's not like some crazy counter wall I'm putting up. Yeah, we definitely keep this. This is like a turn 5 kill. Can't say no to that. Tapland, Signet, Tinker, hope for the best. It's funny that my opponent has Dak Faden in the deck. Let's see if I can do anything cool. If I draw an untapped land, let's say I go turn 1, Sensei Top. Turn 2, Signet. Turn 3. Yeah, that is slightly better if I draw an untapped land and it lets me dig for days, have 1 mana left over on that turn. If I draw an untapped land and I can use that mana to dig for like a days, or if I draw, you know, blue card, untapped land, then I could use that extra mana to dig for Force of Will. I think this is slightly better, even though it is super awkward with that tab land. And I don't like that my opponent's thinking here. That unfortunately, that means Black Lotus and that this video will be over soon, but we will hope until it's over. Turn 1 Probe. My opponent does not want to get caught by, what do I know? I don't even know if Hull Breacher and Bowmaster and that kind of stuff is in the cube. I actually don't think they are, but I could be wrong. Okay, so my opponent kind of knows what's up here. Wow, here's Spell Pierce. So if I go, I feel like it's okay to be naked this turn. And then I can consider delaying my plan here. Mainly because of Dak Faden, but I'm sure there are other reasons. Opponent is passing here. So if I draw Basic Island naturally, I'm very happy. So that's why I'm not going to top. Is that the logic? If I top, I'm kind of conceding. Yeah, let's try and spike the island. Okay. I guess this is some kind of solid. So develop one of those. Play the land out. Now my opponent's going to realize something could be up. But I think this is the way to go. I don't think I can allow myself to lose to Dak Faden. I look like somebody with a 2-mana counter right now. Unfortunately, with my opponent having Black Lotus, a card like Spell Pierce can really run out of gas. The dream is finding something like Force of Will off this top. No Force of Will. There's an Urza. Urza really ups the clock here, I feel like. Can I go Urza? Then I get a token. Tinker. Do I have backup for that Tinker? That's basically what I want to know here. If I go Urza 1, 2, 3, 4, get a token, then I have 1 untapped land, 1 token, 1 top. Yeah, then I don't have the backup. That kind of sucks. But I want to draw the Urza, I think. Or is Pierce... Snapcaster Pierce. Is that better on the following turn? That very well could be. Let's try and count. So I tinker away. I could tinker away the top. Yeah, that's probably what I should do. So land all the way down. I draw the Snapcaster. So let's see. Like that. Like that. Tinker away the top, I guess. Or play Pirate Spellbomb. Pirate Spellbomb. So Mere Battlesphere is 12 damage. Then the next turn I deal 4. Let's say my opponent finds a blocker. Deal 4. Then this Pirate Spellbomb is lethal. But top looks for cards like Force of Will. I think I'm going to value that more. So, like this. Tinker away Pirate. Try and set up the Battle Ball. My opponent counters with a 2-mana counter. I'll counter back. That's so strong. Have to pierce that mana leak. And now the DAC will crush me, but I don't think I have a choice here. If I had Citadel, I could draw through my deck with top. I don't. Pick something else in the draft. So I have to hope that my opponent did not draw Dak Faden for the 3rd game in a row. I think that's a reasonable gamble. I don't think the waiting game is very good for me, so also I have at least Ether Spellbomb as an out if my opponent Dax this card. Let's take a look at the list here. Hostage Taker, I guess. Yep, here's Dak. Great card. Could have randomly drawn with top here, but I think that's bad. Do like the upkeep spin here. Even Swamp would be great here. No, maybe not, actually not. Because of how signets work. Okay, so these cards are decent. I could... Let's see, what do I do here? So right now, my opponent is not killing me fast or anything with this card. I'm in decent shape here. This Day is a good card. So what can I do here? I can go... Let's see, like that. So I can Snapcast Preordain. Can't Snapcaster. I could go something like Recruiter. This Day is going to be clutch. That's more or less the question here. Preordain. Get rid of Days. Or, no, maybe draw the Days, actually. Magic is a tough game. Such a tough game. So now, guess I'm supposed to filter into this one. Is that true? This is probably fine. So, if I recruiter, I can recruit for something like Pestermite, which will tap the Battle Ball, threaten the Twin. I believe Daze is good. I can do both if I get rid of the top entirely. That is probably not it. Recruiter Urza. How does that work? Probably pretty sick. Okay, so I think I've talked myself into keeping both cards, cashing in my top. To have access for the days here. Then recruit up Urza. And then... yes, attack with 3 tokens on deck. Don't really want to get bolted here. Really want to get rid of deck. Okay, we have some kind of plan here, and I'm really hoping that Daze is going to be strong. I cashed in my top in order to have access to Daze in the clutch. So that's either an incredible decision or a terrible decision. Not much in between here, unfortunately. The opponent's plan is pretty straightforward here. Passing. And then I draw Pestermite. I guess I'm forcing through some damage here. Let's see, like this, like that. Yes. Urza. Ready to get countered. Did not get countered. So the cool thing about... I really want to use this Urza to... or this Pestomite, rather, to force through a lot of damage. So maybe... right now I have Snapcaster Pierce and Daze up. So maybe this is where I just pass. I think that's reasonable. And then I tap my opponent's Battle Ball before my next turn. Funnily enough, Snapcaster Pierce has Gifts Ungiven covered for the time being. Also kind of funny that I just remembered I hate picked the High Tide. So right now my opponent thinks they're somewhat safe because of the Battle Ball on defense. Let's see if that's the case. My opponent goes for any shenanigans now. Maybe the Snapcaster Pierce comes into play. Maybe the Daze comes into play. How much damage am I attacking for here? 4, 5, 11, 13, 15 if I really want to. And if I had a black mana, exactly 18. But I don't. And I only have 1 swamp in my deck, so it's not something I can rely on. Opponent doing a little bit of counting here, which I don't like. I hope this is something like Rite of Flame into the 6 mana, draw 7. Okay. That's not good for me. I can tell that much. Storm 2. Brain Freeze. Huh. I wonder what the point is here. I guess Past in Flames? 2, 3, 4. It looks like I'm losing to Past in Flames here. And now I can, I guess, Snapcaster some more stuff. Okay, so that is game over, I believe. Let's see if there's anything I'm missing. So now I can go, let's see, exile, copy it without paying its mana cost. So let's see, Snapcaster, no hard counters in the graveyard, right? Snapcaster, Force of Will, not an option, correct? I only have 3 mana. If I pierce it, my opponent will pay. If I daze, my opponent will pay. Can I catch my opponent with Pestermite? I hardly believe it. Can I dig through time into something? I don't have any more hard counters in the deck. The negation would have been so good against this matchup, but I think this is the end of the road. Mastery, targeting... Let's see. There's no way for me to generate artifacts here, right? Because Snapcaster Force Will, unfortunately, I can't pitch. That would be amazing if that was the case. I can't win on my upkeep either. Don't have any shenanigans here to put cards back into my deck. That was cool. That was a great one. That was awesome. The opponent did a good job here. Darn. That's the end of the road. That means we are out in 5th to 8th place. I love tub baiting. It was very fun. I loved the games from the previous video, and this one was pretty darn cool as well. Back Faden, poof, that card was so strong against me. I don't think I could, you know, justify not going for the Battle Ball. Because my deck needs to, you know, it's not the best control deck in the world, so I have to, you know, either Battle Ball my opponent or twin my opponent, and yeah, push for that game plan to happen. But it wasn't good enough this time around, and that's what happens. All right, guys, I had a ton of fun. I hope you guys did as well. Vintage Cube is the, I was about to say a bad word. Vintage Cube is the shoot, and I hope you guys will check back on the channel next time. Maybe some Legacy, maybe some Vintage, who knows? But yeah, thanks so much for the continued support, and yeah, have a nice day. Thanks for watching.